Hello everyone, today in this video I am going to deal with the poem The Ant and the Cricket. This poem is adapted from Aesop's Fables. Now before we move to this poem, let me discuss fables. Now what is fables? The word fable is derived from a Latin word fibula, which means a story, and a derivative of the word fere, which means to speak. A fable is a short story intended to convey a moral lesson at the end. Fables often use animals as the main character. They are presented with human characteristics. So, fable, it's a story. It means to tell a story and to narrate a story which should have animals as its character, and animals would be attributed with human qualities. It means they will speak, they will talk, they will behave as if human being. So the animals will be the character of this type of a story, that is the story which have animals as its character. And secondly, the story should convey some moral lesson at the end. This is the basic two qualities of a fable. The first one I repeat, that is it should have animals as its main characters, and the secondly, it should convey some moral meaning, moral lesson at the end of the story. So in this poem we have two characters, that is we have a ant and the cricket. As the title suggests, we have two characters, that is the ant and the cricket. Now here the cricket was silly. He used to amuse himself during his happy days, when he was affluent, when everything was favorable, when season was good, when the time was running good. At that time he used to enjoy himself, he used to amuse by singing and dancing. While at the same time, we all know that ant is regarded as a hard worker. So, but at that time ant used to work even when the situation was favorable. But at that time the cricket used to sing and dance. So he wasted all his time in singing and enjoying in dancing. So as a result, when situation went against them, when situation turned adverse, at that time, now the cricket faced problem. Now let's see what lesson does he learn from that situation. So during good time, that is summer, during summer the cricket used to enjoy himself by singing and dancing, but while at the same time the ant used to work hard at that time. And as season changes, so season changed, and when it came winter, at that time the cricket had nothing to eat, and therefore now his survival was at risk, and therefore at that time he went to the ant for help. Now let's see what was the reply of ant and what lesson does the cricket learn from that incident. A silly young cricket, accustomed to sing through the warm sunny months of gay summer and spring, began to complain when he found that at home his cupboard was empty and winter was come. Not a crumb to be found on the snow-covered ground, not a flower could he see, not a leaf on a tree. So, in the very starting of line of the poem, this cricket has been, the adjective for this cricket has been used as silly. Silly young cricket. Silly has been used for this cricket, that is to describe this cricket, that he was silly and he was young. So what it is, that he was accustomed to sing. It means he was in a habit to sing all the time. He used to sing all the time. Accustomed means sing all the time. So he used to sing song all the time. It means he was always merry making, he was always enjoying, he was always in a happy go lucky mood, and he never cared about his future. So he entertained himself by singing. So what happened then? Through the warm sunny months of gay summer and spring. So when the situation, when the season was favorable, that is during summer and during spring, he enjoyed himself, he entertained himself with his song. So now he began to complain. When he began to complain when he found that at home his cupboard was empty and winter was come. So when winter come, so when season changed, when everything went against him, during winter everything was covered with snow, and as he has never cared about his future, he has never stored something for winter, for difficult times. So now when winter came, he found his cupboard empty. It means he has got no woolen clothes. He had nothing in his house left for him to, there was nothing in store for him for the difficult time. So now he began to complain. There was not a crumb to find. It means there was nothing to that he found. On the snow covered ground, everywhere, the whole area was covered with snow. He could not find anything, and the snow, it means the cold, the winter was at peak. It was too cold, and the whole area was covered with the snow, and therefore he could not find anything to eat and anything to protect himself from the severe cold. So now he felt the difficulties. Not a flower could he see, not a leaf on a tree. So he could not find anything to eat. He could not find anything to cover himself to beat the cold. So when the time was favorable, that is during the summer, during the spring season, when everything was available in the nature, at that time he was in a very happy mood. He wasted those times, he never thought about his future, and he wasted all those time in merrymaking, in singing, in enjoying, entertaining himself. And therefore he was he found himself in trouble when the situation changed. Now let's see what he did. Oh, what will become, says the cricket of me. At last by starvation and famine made bold, at dripping with wet and all trembling with cold. Away he set off to a miserly ant, to see if, to keep him alive, he would grant him shelter from rain and a mouthful of grain. He wished only to borrow, he would repay it tomorrow. If not, he must die of starvation and sorrow. So now what happened? The weather has shown its worst face, and as a result, what happened? Now it started raining, it was already cold, it was already ice all over the ground, and it was snowing as well, and it started raining also, and therefore the whole plants, trees, land was covered with snow, and therefore he could not find anything to eat. He did not even have anything to cover himself, and due to which, what happened now? What he says, oh, what will become, says the cricket of me. So now he is thinking about himself, that now what I am going to do, I am going to die. Now what will happen to me? He could not imagine even that how he will be able to survive. He thinks that definitely he is going to die out of starvation and famine. So at last by starvation and famine made bold. So when the situation became worst, at that time then what he did? He made a decision. What decision he made? when all dripping with wet and all trembling with cold. So when he was totally wet, as it was raining and snowing, he became wet, and during winter season, if you get wet, definitely the coldness increases by leaps and bounds by manifold, and therefore when he was wet in that winter season, then he was trembling with cold, he was shaking with cold, he can't bear the cold, as he don't even have any woolen clothes in his cupboard. So now he had nothing to do, the only thing that he could do is either to borrow something from someone or to wait to die. So now what he did, he thought that he should better go to miserly ant. Now miser, one who is spendthrift, who spent something very miserly, not open-handedly. It means this type of person used to think about their future, and they used to preserve something for their coming days as well. So now he thought that he should go and ask some help from miserly ant. So away he set off. So at some distance, perhaps an ant was living over there. Now he thought that he should go there. So he set off. He is now going to that ant to see if, to keep him alive, he would grant him shelter from rain. So he went there so that he would make a polite request, and so that the ant may provide him shelter from rain, so he may get some shelter. So this cricket, he don't even had a proper shelter, he don't even had proper house to live in, he had nothing to eat, he had nothing to wear to protect himself from the cold, and even he don't have a proper shelter. So he don't had anything, while at the same time when he had time, when he could have worked for himself, at that time he was wasting his time, he was enjoying himself. So now what he did, he went to the ant in order to seek help from ant, to ask him for the shelter so that he may protect himself from the rain and the cold. And he went to, and one more thing which he want to ask for from that ant is, that is a mouthful of grain. Even he don't had anything to eat, and the whole nature, as it is given in the first paragraph here, you can see in image also, everything is covered with snow, nothing is left. So everything out in the environment was covered with snow, and even he had not stored even a single bit of anything to it in these difficult situation. So he don't have anything. So now just for a sake of mouthful of grain, even he don't have a small amount of grain. So for a small amount of grain, that is a mouthful of grain, now he went to ant to borrow it, and with a thought that he would repay it tomorrow. So now he is going to borrow, and when the situation will become good, when the environment will be good, when again the season will be favorable, then what he will do? He will return it back to the ant. If not, he must die of starvation and sorrow. So if he will not ask ant, he will not seek help from ant, that is of shelter and of food, then definitely he is going to die of starvation and sorrow. So he is in a very worst condition now. Right now even his existence is at risk, and therefore he thought to go to ant to ask for food, to borrow some food and for shelter as well. Says the ant to cricket, I am your servant and friend, but we ant never borrow, we ant never lend. This is the moral of this story. We ant never borrow, we ant never lend. But tell me, dear cricket, Did you lay nothing by when the weather was warm? Quoth the cricket, Not I. My heart was so light that I sang day and night, for all nature looked gay. You sang, sir, you say? Go then, says the ant, and dance the winter away. So now he went to ant, and then he has asked the ant for help. So when he asked him, so now in this paragraph, in this part, the ant and the grasshopper is in conversation with each other. So he said, the ant says that, sir, I am your servant as well as I am your friend. But we follow certain principle in our life. The ant says that we follow certain principle in our life, and what is that principle? That we never borrow and we and never lend. We don't even take from someone, and we even don't lend something to anyone. So this line gives a message to us that as the ant, we should cultivate this habit, that we should always think for our future, for the time which may be totally against us. We should have a proper planning for our secure future. Otherwise, it may be that even we may land in the same situation as here the cricket has lent into. So what the ant told him, that we never borrow. We are not in habit to borrow. It means that they are never in a mindset to take help from anyone, and therefore it means that they believe in themselves, and therefore they work hard, as they know that there are no one to help them at the time of adversity, when the situation will become adverse, and therefore they work day and night to help themselves. Then the ant asked, But tell me, dear cricket, did you lay nothing by when the weather was warm? So then ant asked that cricket, that dear cricket, have you laid nothing by? It means you have saved nothing. He has asked that when the weather was fine, when it was warm all around, when it was a spring season, during summer season, when the situation was not bad, when the atmosphere was favorable. So at that time, what did you do? What did you did? At that time, did you save nothing for this type of situation, for the adversity? Then quoth here refers to say. Then he said, who said? Cricket said that not I. He said that no, I did not save anything. My heart was so light that I sang day and night. For all nature looked gay. So what he says, that at that time, when the nature was favorable, when season was favorable, he says that at that time I was in a happy mood. So he says that that was my happiest time. That was my happier time, and at that time I was too happy that I never thought about all these things, and I was indulged in singing and dancing and amusing myself. I enjoyed the beauty of nature. Everything looked gay to me. It means happy to me. Everything was quite fine out there in the nature, and even I enjoyed day and night. I sang day and night and enjoyed it to the best. And therefore, I never thought about this type of situation. Then see what the ant said. You sang, sir, you say? Go then, say the ant, and dance the winter away. So now he says that if at that time when the situation was good, and at that time when you was making merry and when you were singing, then now when that you go and continue with your dancing and singing. And now I hope that the thing which you have done there at that time, I think that that only will help you right now in this adverse situation. Therefore, I ask you to go and dance and sing and dance the winter away. It means during this time, continue with the same activity, same thing which you continue to do in the past, and fight the adversity, the situation which you face right now. Thus ending, he hastily lifted the wicket, and out of the door turned the poor little cricket. Fox called this a fable, I will warrant it true. Some crickets have four legs and some have two. So what he say? This paragraph says that now, so the ant denied any help. Ant has denied help to cricket, and therefore he had to return back without any help from the ant. He returned back and he had nothing. He has nothing to do now. He was now this poor little cricket. Poor word is being used here because the situation is not favorable. It's cold, it's snowing, and he has nothing to wear. He has no place to hide himself. He has no food to eat, and therefore poor word is being used over here. So now, without waiting there for a hastily lifted the wicket, it means now without wasting a second over there, he turned from there, and the ant, they closed out of the door, turned the poor little cricket. So he turned away from there, and now he is left to the situation. It may be that he may die out of starvation, and God knows, if God will favor him, it may be that he will survive by some or other means. So now the poet says that folk call this a fable, I will warrant it true. Some cricket have four legs and some have two. So now it says, the poet says that people call this a fable, people call it a story. But I find, the poet says that I find that no, it's true. And that's why some cricket have only two legs while some have four legs. It means four legs and two legs. What difference between that? It means they have used their two legs in such a, they have used that two leg in such a manner that now it is used as a hand. It is no more their legs, and that's why that legs has become their hand, and now they are using that two hand to work very hard, and therefore they have some of the cricket, now they have only two legs. Other two legs they are using it for their hard work as their hand. So by the means of hard work they have converted their two legs into hand, and they are using the other two for the leg purpose. As here you can see in this picture, this cricket is walking with the help of this two leg, and the rest two is up there. So the moral of the story, is that we should always plan wisely for our future, for our secure future. We should not be fickle minded. Otherwise, it may be that if we will waste time and if we will waste our favorable situation, if we will not respect that situation and time, then it may be that in the coming time we will have to face the same situation as the cricket has faced over here, that it may be that we will be left with nothing at the time of difficulties, and it may be that we will have to die. So instead of doing so, we should always do a wise planning for our future, and we should preserve something, we should save something for the difficult time, for the rainy days, as the ant used to do. So here the ant has given us a very it has given us the biggest lesson of life. The first thing, that we should not borrow, we should never be a borrower, and we should never be a lender as well. Secondly, we should always plan for our future, that because we are never going to know that what is there in store in future. It may be that the situation may not be in favor. Therefore, we should think about our future in present only. Thank you for watching this video.